An MOU is a memorandum of understanding. It is not implicit approval of the bike project. And I think that the conversations that have transpired over the course of this summer and this fall, it's made it pretty clear that the project was a little different in terms of everybody's different understandings, of it. I think the bike association thought the city was taking on more responsibility. The city thought that the bike group was taking on more responsibility. It was going to look like this. It was going to look like that. There were a lot of different understandings about what the bike park was going to be. And I think the MOU is going to allow the parties to coordinate and plot a path forward as far as the project. And we recognize across the board, I've heard from a variety of people, that the project needs to actually be defined. There's differing understandings about what the project is, and I had a really good conversation last week with Gina Bauer about this. We need to define the project. There's going to have to be amendment of the building permit, because as well as the planning permit, and in terms of planning commission review, because the project did deviate from that which had been previously approved, and we need to be able to get back into that. I put this item after the budget so that people understood where we were financially, and the fact that the city is in a deficit in the general fund, and there is no grant money that's lined up to provide the funding necessary to see this project move forward. Mm-hmm. And I would really like to see that there would be a working group that could be formed of representatives from council or staff with the association, so that we can develop that pathway, present it to council, so that you guys can say, yeah, we like this, or can you make sure that we've incorporated this step as well. When I came on board initially, projects get sideways sometimes, and you figure out what the necessary corrective actions were. What I did not anticipate was that there were so many differences of opinion about what this project was, and that our own grant applications deviated from each other. So I really want to see everybody sit down and actually have a working conversation around what this project is, and scale it back, to basically its essence, and make sure that it's something that is going to be safe, that is going to be, we're not going to have any unnecessary exposures, if you will, working closely with our insurance company, so that we can see some sort of a project proposal that can come before council, get your final blessings, and then we identify what the funding is going to be in order to have some sort of clear path that's approved. I really think that's probably it. I think that I would open it up, unless you guys have some more specific questions. It's a little bit of the chicken or the egg, but I really want to emphasize approving the MOU, which basically says that we're going to work together in good faith. And it's not implicit approval of the project, but there is a recognition of the importance of coordinating and communicating more directly with city and council before moving anything forward. I don't know if there's anything else.
Well, I would just say, my assistant's going to tell me I told you so tomorrow, because I didn't let her proofread my edits. So there's a couple of typos that will fix in section 6.
Yep.
Other than that, this MOU is an agreement to cooperate on fundraising, and also on, when we get there, volunteer hours and work towards the project when the city's ready to move forward with the project. So approving this MOU isn't a go to continue with the project in any way, shape, or form. It's setting up a framework by which the city and our CMBA can work together to help fund and complete the project at the council's direction.
Great. Any questions
from council to staff?
I just had, the typos, C8
I'm sorry,
typos.
which you flagged.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I got this.
You got both of them?
Got both of them.
Okay. I'm the
You're
typo.
getting paid now.
I'm the typo one.
Any other questions?
I'm being redundant in the question. I just want to make sure that I'm absolutely clear. So this MOU that you provided to us, Ryan, this is what was originally submitted by RCMBA to the city to review, and the only changes that you have made are those in yellow?
So we highlighted some changes at the last council meeting that I had included in circulated drafts with RCMBA. For example, we changed the insurance provisions, the indemnity, we added some additional red lines that were reviewed at the last council meeting. The things in yellow are those additional changes that came from the last council discussion.
Does RCMBA wish to comment at all, since this is our item together? Yeah, go ahead.
Just make sure you're speaking really loud.
No, yeah. Thanks for having us. The one item that in the new highlighted section that gave us a little bit of pause. We're absolutely on board with everything, transparency, sharing open books, everything like that. Our only pause was the quarterly fiscal reporting, because we are all volunteers and our treasurer is a volunteer, and we were hoping that we could make that biannual or annual. I don't know if the necessity is quarterly for books or anything like that. It's not a deal breaker, but it would help us out with volunteer time if we could make that biannual or annual. That's all I've got on that.
Great, thank you. Anybody else from RCMBA? We'll open up for public comment too. Any questions from council for staff?
Is it questions or comments?
Either one, yeah.
So one of the things, when we talked about this MOU before, one of my issues, because I understand that this isn't a formal to say how we're going to proceed with this, and that it's still open. But what this does say to me is that we are saying to the public, we aren't agreeing to anything, but we are saying to the public that we agree to take on the bike park, and that we are going to try to work out all of these things and figure out how we're going to pay for it. I understand that the bike park is something that's been in the works, but when I look back at the original intent, the very original forms that were given, it said, and I got this on the way back machine, it just said, what was the purpose, how were we going to go forward with this? And the city manager at the time that said, in order to reach our goal of making the bike and having the bike park, we would be raising money. And so this would be a fundraising-based project. And that fundraising would allow us to design and build the bike park, install kiosks, benches, signage, purchase tools and equipment for regular upkeep, establish a maintenance fund to help keep the bike park relevant and in great condition. And so my thing here is that I didn't see the city council, the previous city council, ever agree to put out money from the city budget to do this, because I don't know that they could afford it. As a matter of fact, there were invoices that were kept away from the city council, basically. So why was that? Was it because there was a concern about bringing forth a cost to the city? And so I'm not saying we wouldn't agree to bear the cost, but that's never been how the city has approached this. They have never given seed money for it. The understanding when the previous city manager came to this council was that there was going to be grant that was, and it was for a significant amount of money, which is, let me know if I'm wrong, but I believe it was pretty close to $800,000. So the issue here is that I see words like, you know, let's see, where is it? You know, that even the city retains final authority, or that this would just assist us and money came through on the budget by the city council. I'm just concerned about what we are saying to the public out there as far as, in looking at our budget, what we are capable of doing and funding. And so I would be concerned about some of the words that are in here. I'm also concerned about it saying the new language, the city manager may only have authorized work in accordance with the approved plans for which funding has been budgeted by the city council. And so my question would be, if you've had money already budgeted in Parks and Recreation, and maybe you could answer this question for me, Jill, then could that money possibly be spent on this? Or, because it doesn't say that, it says the city retains final authority, not the city council.
Right.
And so I would not, given everything that's happened, I feel like it's very important for every step of this to come before the council so that we are kept in the loop of everything that's happening. And if it can just go through the budgetary process, or the city retains, which means that would be our city manager, I would just like, I would want to be very careful about how those kinds of things are stated. And whether or not we're deciding we are all in with maybe finding a way to fund this, or is this still going to continue to be done by donation and volunteer work?
Jill, you want to speak? Oh, I thought you wanted to say something earlier.
Yeah, a phone was buzzing somewhere. Sorry, was that you?
No.
Holy, it was like, zzz. Okay, so a couple things on that. You're not completely wrong, but there's a missing step. So typically, the way a process should work is you have a project proposal. And you have council say, we like the concept, which council did. Go forth, develop the plans, come forward, you have all the expenses, you would show what the design was. That step got missed. They brought in a group, they started doing the fundraising, cart got before the horse. Council will still need to say, we approve this project, at which point, if there is money, then you would appropriate money for that purpose. Your city manager is only supposed to be spending money which has been approved for the purpose, not move things around randomly, but it's supposed to be spent in the manner in which council has identified the priorities and the projects and the programs to further the city. Again, that got sideways. So unfortunately, it leaves you all very skeptical, but that's the way that it should work. Monies are only expended in the manner that has been approved by council. This is one of the things that I think when we talk about moving forward with the budget, I would love to see your budget be very clear about project priorities. This year, Park and Recreation's goal is to do X, Y, Z. And then, at the end of the year, you get that report with the next fiscal year that says, we accomplished, da-da-da-da-da. And so there, you start building in that level of accountability that you don't necessarily, see right now. It happens sometimes. I can tell you that I recall the long conversation about the $380,000 floor that we were going to do for HWMA. So when I got onto HWMA as their executive director, and staff is like, well, we need like $400,000 for the tip floor. And I'm like, we already authorized that. What do you mean? Where's the money? Like, I ended up getting spent on other things. So we ended up having to do it again. It's real, it happens, it's uncomfortable, it underscores the importance of having that accountability and revisiting things and being okay with it. You know, being okay with it being comfortable asking the question of your city manager, and the city manager needs to be comfortable responding and having that accountability. And, you know, so I say that because in an ideal world, that's the way it works. Ryan could probably speak to it better because he has way more public agencies that he's currently representing. But I don't think that there's, again, anything that's saying that this is a guarantee. I think we're trying to plot out a path forward, and in order to plot a path forward, we really need to have all the parties around the table to figure out what people can reasonably take on or what they can't, in order to give you something so you can say thumbs up, thumbs down. The agreement allows us to bring them into the fold so we can have that conversation in good faith. That may or may not provide you with the assurance you're looking for, but that's, you know, what we're looking at.
So what you're saying is we follow policies that we have in place.
I'm sorry?
So what you're saying is we had the policies, if we followed the policies that we had in place, then this would not have happened normal.
Should not have.
Great. Any other questions? Comments?
I think, I mean, I understand what you're saying, Terry. I understand, but I think that this is a real step forward in an effort to formalize that agreement and establish the relationship. And I think in the introduction will attempt to ensure progress continues as the city's available budget to accommodate such standards remains uncertain. You know, so there's still that question about our responsibility, but we have to start somewhere with establishing the relationship because this is our property. And so we have to take responsibility for it. We're already here. And so I understand what you're saying because there could be like a little slip of scope, a little give here and there that gets missed. And so it is important that we are very, very careful. But I really feel strong that this is a great step forward to establishing that relationship and being able to finish this project or, at least work on it together. I think it's really important.
And people have heard me say this was actually one of the first steps that should have happened. At the point that there was a concept and council said we like the concept, there should have been an MOU, and then there should have been a clear pathway as far as we're going to come up with a preliminary design, we're going to get some cost, get a sense of, how robust this project was going to be or how simple this project would be. That step got missed, and that is not, it's really contributed to sort of this, entangled ball that we've got right now. I had another point and I've lost it. I might need have one of those protein bars.
I brought many.
All right. Any other questions? Yes?
Yeah, I do have a question. I think this would be for staff. There was another biking organization that had also come forward and expressed interest in this. Were you able to have follow-up discussion with them?
There was a conversation after our last meeting, and then there was also the Humboldt Bike Collective. I think that people are interested in, finding, a pathway forward, but I think they're kind of letting these guys maybe do a little blazing. I don't think you need to shut the door to anybody. I would say you can have agreements, because it's really trying to pull everybody together, all the different resources collectively. Have a big tent.
Yeah. I do have a comment, and I won't apologize for having to lament that which didn't happen, but we have to really make this clear that the issues that we face today are from missteps that happened, decisions made in the field, and something that we haven't brought forward. There is a part of the community that is very supportive of this, and they're vocal, but at no time has the community as a whole, as part of a larger general plan, had the opportunity to say, do we want to become a recreational tourism destination? And the original park as proposed was something lovable, I think could have been easily maintained, it was affordable and doable. But as a council person, and as a resident, feel very left out of a process that we now have something that is unrecognizable to the plans as presented. And it isn't enough to say that we just move forward from here. As a community, we have to do an assessment of what are we doing? What is the actual scope of work here? What are the plans? What is the bike park going to be in its final form? And what are the steps to get there and get community endorsement with that as well? So when I look at doing the MOU, as it's currently worded, I think that we kind of as a city have to get our house in order before we start reaching out, because we had gone into some form of a, I guess, informal partnership, and this is where we are today. Now, I'm not trying to lay blame at anybody's feet, but we can't have a repeat of that. And first and foremost to me is, what is the scope of work? And that includes whether we have to have it re-engineered and assessed for whatever is there, what is the final form, what are the maintenance costs that would be involved. And this is something that I think the city in part has to have that discussion on its own and with its public before going to outside forces that clearly have an interested in a direction that may or may not be part of what the community wants as a whole. So it's, I'm putting myself out there to be a target, that I do not hate this bike park. But this process that we have had has led us to a strain in our community, and we have to heal that. And we also have to make sure that from this point forward, we're making decisions that we can sustain financially. That's my 2 cents.
Cat? Sorry, go ahead. Was there a comment, or I heard something? Do we have any other comments, questions? Do we want to entertain a motion or open it up to the public? What do you guys feel like doing?
Well, I think maybe we need to hear from others about this process and how they see it moving forward. And from RCMBA, I know the council has felt pressured by organizations and community and the goals as relates to the bike park. And so I guess part of what I'm hearing is that we want to go forward, we want to forge these alliances, so to speak, but can we do that and still maintain a pace that respects the whole process, right? Where we feel like we have to backtrack to some degree, and if we go forward with the MOU, is everybody on board to supporting a little bit of backtracking and working in that way that can involve the whole community and can flesh out this process as it might have happened, if we went in the proper order before. So the way I'm hearing it, that's kind of the question: is can we all get together and slow down together?
You said motion first before public comment, or?
It's your discretion.
Great, thank you.
I don't want to change your process midstream. I was just making a suggestion in general.
Great.
One thing I want to kind of emphasize is it would actually be really good to have perhaps a subcommittee of the council perhaps sit down with some of the representatives if they wanted to put somebody down, and they can hash out some of the details. In terms of a project, I don't think that staff, certainly myself or Emily right now, could say, oh, we're just going to create something to put before you guys in a vacuum. Primarily because you already have something that's been somewhat constructed. And so we really do need to kind of get a sense from some of the outside representatives to help us plot forward what is going to be necessary to amend that project so that we can get it back in line and say it's got to get a building permit. If we need to make modifications to it, what does that look like? Where do we come up with the funding to make that happen? There's a whole lot. I mean, it's just really unfortunate that the conversation wasn't held before ground was broken. You know, you essentially kind of built a house half-assed, and now you're trying to retrofit it. And you don't want to just go in and start putting things in place. You actually need to look at it comprehensively and figure out how you would make sure that it's meeting some of the intended purpose. So I would really encourage everything that is being expressed is really important, and it gets at some of the undercurrent. And I think that it'd probably be really beneficial to meet with some representatives of the group if they're willing to do that. Because from what we've heard from Gina Bauer at the last meeting, they thought they were being asked to raise 20 grand. They didn't realize that they were kind of being represented more than that. You know, so you know, they're still willing to have conversations, you know, with you, and I think that that's really, you know, important. And the question is if you want to have some conversations with them. This is a really awkward place to do it. So having a working group might be able to have more fruitful, you know, conversations around that.
Are you suggesting we end this?
I'm sorry.
Are you suggesting we end this item, or are you suggesting just to have a conversation elsewhere with the smaller party and smaller group?
I think first we have to establish the MOU, and then we can move forward with creating that discussion. But I was wondering, as far as the requests and the comment on the challenge for the every quarter with the donations, the list of donations, essentially a financial report of sorts. If we could make it like down at D8, we are talking about the city communicating every 6 months to review projects in order to help support efforts ongoing elsewhere. If we could maybe modify that little piece and go from quarter to every 6 months, if that's agreeable with this team, given that we plan on establishing probably a solid ad hoc committee to have further discussions and develop a closer relationship with the team.
I would say that for purposes of reporting, when you're looking at that, 6 months is going to probably be adequate. If you're looking at, you know, the coordination and, you know, you've got your scope of work, you've figured out all these necessary steps,
Right.
You're already going to know, you know, where you are in the process, and that would be kind of a separate, you know, vehicle, if you will. But having, you know, the twice a year with respect to the amount of money that they're looking at, that would probably be sufficient. Your city manager has got a lot of plates in the air at any given time, and you can't possibly review the amount of information that's coming in at any given moment. I can't begin to tell you how, like this last week, the number of reports that are coming in from out of the blue, and I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to find time to pull together the information so that we can get these reports in by December 1st. So there's no shortage of reports and information. So if you can do every 6 months, I think that would be great for the next person coming in.
Great.
And if you decide that you need to do it more frequently, amend the MOU.
Right. Because everyone has the power to do that. So, great. Let's go ahead and either do we wish to entertain a motion or hear from public first?
I think hearing from the public first, but I think, to be clear, it sounded like, Jill, you were recommending council have a subcommittee, otherwise known as an ad hoc, to meet with.
Yeah, I think that, everything that you're articulating is really important, and I think that this just makes it for an awkward forum to do it, because it feels very, we're talking at you, and we're not able to have that dialogue. You can sit around the table, hit the different issues, you might be able to see some breakthrough and maybe some opportunities to plot a better path forward. I mean, I really do. I think that there's an interest by the different representatives that I've spoken with in finding some sort of a solution. They recognize the position that this council is in, and just how uncomfortable this is. I mean,
I want to embrace that idea. That is not the expression out on the street, in public, on forums. So, you know, it's if I want to move forward with this, but I agree. I mean, I'd like to be able to meet with RCMBA members and, you know, express my own personal thoughts as both a resident, as a council member. And then also here, it sounds like there's been difficulties. I mean, right now I'm about to say the phrase, on the other side of the aisle, because you guys are way over there and we're way over here, and I wish we were all just right here together. But
pull your
there's-
tables over.
Yeah, come over here, come over.
Are we interested in creating a whole new ad hoc? Because there was an ad hoc.
I don't even know whoever that
It
was.
was John and I.
Okay,
Yeah.
then you guys go for it.
Let's go ahead and open up the public comment. Does public wish to comment on this item? I'd like to get a little more input from the public so we can make a
I'd
sound
also
decision.
like to suggest that we actually bring benches over. You guys want to actually come
It's
on
good.
over?
Don't hurt yourselves.
Because,
Yeah, it's so hard to hear and see.
yeah,
Yeah,
and we
it's
can't
like
see
turning-
you, and we're all leaning this way and that.
Over there.
Stand up at the microphone if you're speaking.
Are we even
We are
on that?
recording, yes.
We are recording.
And any that can get in there. Oh, yeah.
Sick.
All right.
Years, and I get to see you all the time.
Thank you. Who would like to be the first one to speak on public comment on this item? Anybody?
Jump in. I'm just trying to clarify my own.
Come on up here so that we can
Sorry.
record, we can record
Sorry.
what you say, that way.
Just to clarify my own understanding of the conversation, is it a desire to create an ad hoc committee to go back and rehash the MOU, or is it a discussion around forming an ad hoc committee post MOU?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you, what the intention was, whether it was to have conversations after the fact or to sign the MOU. I think it could have been either or right now at this point. Ryan, you already took our comments from the last meeting and then inserted them into this document, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. The one other thing I'd like to say is it's a mess. It's a mess, and there's no debate that it's an absolute mess. And RCMBA is here to support the community and to try to build trail and recreational infrastructure. That's our goal. And we recognize that there was a huge mess and a lot of missteps in this process. And if the council, if the city's desire is to go backwards, all the way, I mean, bulldoze it, whatever. Like, the idea is to build a bike park, something that is sustainable, safe, manageable, that works for the city. And if that's what has to happen to make it happen, we're here to help. So, like, to be clear, we're not adversaries. We very much want to work together to try to push forward recreational infrastructure.
Great.
We appreciate that.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Yes, go ahead.
So when I sit here and listen to this, and Jill, you said that they were the fundraisers. I mean, that's what they thought their intent was. So to me, it sounds like nobody, I have to do something here. What, like this?
Oh, they were little fundraisers.
Oh, they were little fundraisers. I mean, they raised about $35,000 in 3 years. That's nowhere close to $400,000. It seems like the city is afraid to take responsibility for this bike park because we don't even know what it is. I mean, and then you guys, you want to be a part of it, but you really don't want to take responsibility for it either. That was never your intent, to take responsibility for the bike park. Their intent was to raise funds for it. So it seems like nobody really wants to take responsibility for the bike park. And I don't know how everybody comes together. The city doesn't have money to build it, and somebody's got to raise what the city thought was that the bike people were going to raise the money to build this bike park. But at $35,000 in 3 years, we're not going to get a bike park built. And the city right now doesn't have money to build the bike park. So nobody really wants to take responsibility for this bike park. And I don't know how all of you are going to come together and build a $400,000 bike park. So I hope you can come to some kind of understanding. I mean, we're having camping out there. We're not charging for it. You know, there could be lots of ways to raise funds. We're not going to raise enough money by selling T-shirts like Mandy told us we were going to. So somehow we have to raise a lot of money. I don't know how you're going to come to an understanding on how this is going to go.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Yes, go ahead.
I live in Blue Lake, and I've seen the kerfuffle that's gone on. And my specialty is doing capital improvement projects where you use grant funds. And it seems to me like the only way you're ever going to fund this is through a grant. And I think I agree with Kat that we really need to determine whether this is something the residents of this city want here, and that outfall that comes from having a recreational facility that brings people into your community. And if it is something that Blue Lake wants to pursue, especially if it's a source of revenue for you, which you need direly, then we need to put staff time into doing grants and working with you guys and other groups to get that support community-wide, county-wide, that makes a grant possible. And there's a lot of propositions that are coming out that have the potential for this. And so I think a lot of it, I mean, I'd like to see you guys do the MOU because it places something on paper that allows you to move forward. And it seems like that's kind of the next step that you need to do to rectify where you're at, because you have a mostly built bike park out there. So.
Great, thank you. Yes, Ron Perry, go ahead.
To address like what Kat's talking about, I think with a MOU, I believe that if we get that together, this group could provide all that she asked for, like what the objective is. And I realized after our long conversation with our city manager that there's going to be we have to backtrack long ways, gather up all the information, tie in all the loose ends, and then we can present it to the city council, what our objective is, what the final plan is, of legitimate, permitted, exactly what we're going to do. This would be the first step right here. We have to go back quite a few steps because of the mistakes we've made. I acknowledge that, and this is the first step. Okay, we're going to work together to get to provide the city council what is needed here. What essentially what is the objective, and we can tell you, maybe acknowledge how much traffic it's going to bring, quite a bit of information, and I encourage our city council to pass this, to say, okay, we're on board, and we'll probably do the bulk of the work to try to get this engineered properly, and maybe some grants, and there's just so many steps. All the loose ends that we missed, we'll try to bring together. I'm going to encourage you to pass this, to approve this.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
John Bartholomew, Blue Lake resident, and I am a member of RCMBA, not on the board, but I am a member, and I also, to dovetail onto Ron's comments, do encourage the city to establish this MOU with RCMBA, which is in my opinion, a very solid association with a very competent and engaged board that will do what it takes to do what's best for the bike park and working with the city. So I would encourage the city to move forward. There are grants out there for these types of projects, and I would encourage the city to work locally with the Humboldt Lodging Alliance. They're getting 2% of the transient occupancy taxes collected across the county for tourism-related projects, and it is really their mandate to support projects that bring tourism into the county and put heads in beds. That's what most of the alliance is about. They are hotel owners, and but they're getting this money to help develop tourism and bring people from outside the area into Humboldt County so that they benefit, the businesses around the county benefit, there's more revenue coming into the cities, and et cetera. And so I would encourage the city to apply for one of those. It's called a community development fund that they get money out of, and they have money. They are the ones that help fund the majority of the skywalk by the zoo in Sequoia Park. They've got money coming from the county. Every single quarter they get many thousands of dollars, and that is their goal to support projects that bring in tourism. And along those lines, the Rancheria, it's also in their best interest to put more heads in beds in their motel. So I think that there's money available on that side of the equation also. And the bunk track competitions, these are global events. This is not something that's just going to be spiked on by our local MX riders. If there are events, there are people that will come here to participate. And I encourage the city to establish the MOU. You folks will make a great partner. Sorry.
No, you're good. Just finish up.
But I encourage everyone to go forward. You make a good team. The ad hoc committee, you can make this happen.
Thank you. Further public comment? Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, Council. My name is Sean Robertson. I'm a board member with RCMBA. I'm also the head coach and team director for the Humboldt County High School mountain bike team. We've built a few of these projects in the county, and what our mission is, as part of RCMBA and the mountain bike team, is to develop community benefits for the children who live there, as well as to building community and help them become leaders in that. The intent originally from everyone, I think, was to provide a recreational opportunity in Blue Lake, and that's how we were approached to help design and develop that, and it's ballooned to where we are today. We've done that successfully in Arcata, we've done that successfully in Fortuna, we've done that also in Humboldt County, where we're working in the McKay Tract in Eureka. All of these are opportunities. Sure, for tourism is one big thing, and providing alternative revenue for communities in our county is important, because that's a challenge for everybody. But also it provides recreational benefits and development benefits for the youth in those communities, and that's another huge part of what we're looking for. This partnership is really important, not just to finish this project or to help you figure out what it is you want it to be. We're partners with all of our communities because we want to create these community opportunities. it's your land, the bike park is already there. We have expertise, knowledge, and resources to help fund that. So the best interest for everyone, including yourselves, is to start with this MOU so we can at least have a partnership to develop whatever this project looks like. The intent and the vision is ultimately yours, but we're a partnership with every community we interact with. We're part of all the communities in our county, and we just want to make it better for everybody. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Further public comment? Yeah, go ahead.
My name's Kevin Fisher. I'm a volunteer. And I would just like to echo the sentiments that these folks also said. As a volunteer, as we've been going along designing and building this thing, I always felt like it was going great. And that we had all the understanding with the community. And so it surprised me to find out that there was a lot of confusion when the new council was elected and Mandy was swept away, and now everything sort of crumbled. I agree totally with what Bart was saying, what Ron's saying, what she was saying. There is money out there, and I don't know how to get it. I'm just a volunteer, but we should try to pursue some of those grants, try to, and I encourage you to make the first step to start this MOU. So, and I also, if there's going to be an ad hoc committee, I would love to be a part of it. I want to help move this project forward. I want to help this community to have good stuff like this bike park to do for people to have fun. So let's have the MOU get approved.
Great. Last call for public comment. Do we have anyone on Zoom? Okay, have her go ahead.
Just a moment, Jamie, can't hear you yet. There you are, we can hear you.
Gene, go ahead. We can hear you.
In the development of this project, this seems to have been very confusing. And trying to keep up with what was going on in the industrial park, and was, I'm concerned about the zoning. We had a O zoning for this area that the bike park is in. So, are we clear that that was changed to recreation? From the old zone to a recreation zone or park facility? Because I would assume that the bike park would be, if it's going to be shown as a bike park, it's going to be part of the whole park and facilities of the city of Blue Lake. And trying to find a foundation and trying to find a place to start with this. Are we clear on the zoning?
Yes.
Okay, so it's recreational zoning?
When I was reading through some of the documents, that was one of the consistency determinations that the planning commission had to make relative to the project. So they went through and they made those determinations. I can't speak to the specifics right now, just because I don't have that information memorized. But when it went to the planning commission, that's part of when they gave that approval process, and then they also flagged that if the project was to deviate from that which had been approved, it it needed to come back to the planning commission, which is why that's one of the corrective actions that'll need to be taken. So they wouldn't have approved it if it wasn't consistent with the zoning and land use designations.
So any understanding MOUs or such are not going to be affected by later developments that, oh no, the zoning wasn't right?
I don't believe so. I mean, I would defer to Ryan with, you're more familiar with that ordinance that was out there than I am.
I think that would have to be looked at in terms of the zoning ordinance. I'm not familiar with it particularly.
Yeah, as I recall, it was interesting because when it did come forward, it did identify, even use the example of a bike park. That was one of the kind of envisioned activities that could be out there.
I think that was
Yeah, I was just thinking if there's funding to be had, MOUs and such, that would be, have to be totally clear. So that's it for tonight for me. Thank you all for being here and your hard work.
Great. Is there any other comment on Zoom? All right. Last call for public comment. Seeing none, let's bring it back to council for potential consideration. I mean, I think at this point, we need to figure out which way we're going with this. I don't think there's any harm in this MOU right now personally, but I would like you guys to consider to entertain a motion either to adopt it or potentially amend it if you have concerns, but I'd like to consider something tonight.
I'm willing to, ready to make a motion.
Did you have further comment, Kat?
I would hope that the ad hoc would meet with members of the RCMBA and their board and kind of go back through some of the issues that we've had, because I'm hearing a lot of really great stuff in all of these comments. Like, Ron, I really appreciate it. Sounds like you spent some time with the city manager, and we're very fortunate to have somebody who's doing that deep dive and being objective and just trying to lay things out.
I was always really walked away really happy about what we discussed.
Yeah, and then hearing that energy of others is like the grants that you're saying and where we could obtain additional money. And there's a but, which is the objectives that are being established have to be from the council representing the public. And so I guess part of the conversation I would want that ad hoc to bring and really examine with RCMBA is, can you work with objectives that the council put out? The goal is this idea to have a global, world-renowned bike park here in our backyard at Blue Lake. Might be something that is, thrilling and of interest and absolutely a revenue generating potential. But what we end up with really needs to be reflective of the character of Blue Lake, what the people want, what we can sustain. And so I'm just re-expressing my concern one last time.
No problem.
That what we are moving forward with in partnership is a reflection of what the council is bringing forward, and that we are doing a good job representing the public rather than it being driven by what the RCMBA wants to see. And that's a big ask, because we're saying, you guys help foot the bill for what we want to do, and it might not be what you're dreaming. But I think that's part of our open dialogue, a place that we have to start with and say, how do we come across that abyss with each other and move forward? And so I'm asking ad hoc to, if you could maybe make a commitment, then I'd be ready to, move forward on an MOU, but I'd like to see that.
A commitment to further conversations beyond this MOU right here?
Yeah, ad hoc
of
and
course.
RCMBA.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I mean, I can commit to that.
Of course.
Okay.
That's the intent.
Yeah.
Of moving forward with the ad hoc, of course, yes.
And can I offer, as I'm listening to all of you, this is bigger than the bike park. There are a number of events that occur within Blue Lake. And maybe one of the things you ought to be looking at, it's like a master recreational plan, where you can begin to look programmatically at all the different events, all your different facilities that are pulling people in. Right now, you're kind of piecemealing, right? And I've heard in my very short time here, issues and concerns that have been expressed by residents and likewise by, different proponents. You really need to find some balance in the community and maybe developing a sort of a programmatic approach to how and where events are being held might help give some accommodations and mitigations as a big picture sort of thing. Just a thought, I don't want to get sideways, but I do think that Blue Lake's in a really unique location, and you have, take a look at the development of many other communities here on the North Coast. You've got way more recreational opportunities here than many other communities. Capitalize on it, figure out how to develop that balance through a master plan. That, so it's just a thought. I don't want to get sideways from the MOU, but I think that there's like a larger conversation that might be really beneficial to be working together.
And again, tonight we are not approving the bike park. We're not doing anything except looking at this MOU. So we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of visioning ahead of us. So I think that if anyone would like to entertain a motion or amend this, then
I would like to make a motion.
yes, it's your motion.
I would like to move that we approve the memorandum of understanding with the Redwood Coast Mountain Biking Association and direct the interim city manager to sign the agreement.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Who made the second?
Louis, if you're. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Thank you very much. All right, do we have anything else? I think we're done. Closed session? Where's my
I was
name?
just saying, we have council and staff reports.
We have some
which we can
reports.
continue till next
Right.
week, unless, or not.
We skipped last time.
For us to get this one wrapped up.
Okay. No.
No, I meant take the reports.
No, we're following the
council and
agenda.
staff
That's why
to
I
the
was saying
next
I can't
meeting.
hear you.
Right.
Yeah, my setup's over. Thank you, guys.
That carries over to
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Council correspondence. Do we have any council correspondence? None?
Conversations I can't track.
Do we have any council correspondence?
We're gonna continue that to the, next week.
Do
Okay.
we need a motion to continue item 12? No, it's a standing item. Thank you.
So 11 and 12 are moving to the next meeting. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay. Okay.
And you said we do not need a motion. Is that correct? Okay.
Okay. So now we're in closed.
No, we are not enclosed.
Well, we will be.
Can we?
I'm sorry why that was.
Can we-
So,
I would like to make a motion that we go into closed session.
okay, we'll have to have that read, and then we'll make sure that Emily's got everything turned off so that we're not continuing to broadcast. But
Great.
let's go ahead and,
We have to take public
read
comment on that.
into-
Public comment on closed session.
We have to
that's
take
right.
public comment on closed
Public
session.
comment on closed session item.
We have to announce it and then take public comment.
Because you just shut off Zoom, so. Okay.
You don't. Really?
Get that microphone up there.
Yeah, different general counsels have different stuff. It's all good.
Give me your-
What's happening? Are we taking a break? What are we doing?
We're going into closed session.
Okay.
You can lock your.
There was, we didn't call for any.
I know, I feel like we're like violating everything right now. Meeting secretly in the skate park. And
We need to all get close. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah, let's put these puppies in their little soundproof boxes.
She kind of has them all numbered, so.
Do they? Got boxes of 4.
What?
Just gonna grab them all.
So you gotta go.
Do you have
Oh,
any
if we
boxes or
can make it?
microphones?
I do not. We turned it in.
I'm so bummed that the screen
Do you think
thing
we can
and
do it?
everything else didn't work, man. I was-
Yeah, yeah.
Get some popcorn.
Well, that
Well,
was a loud.
That is loud. I was not expecting it to be that loud. It's like, boy. Need a nice big screen. They have a big flat screen. Yeah, well, I think it's gonna work out really well. I don't have anything else to go onto the agenda for next week, so we're gonna be able to talk about the budget.
Nice. Can't wait.
You were so full of it.
Arts and hair, just, we can't really talk.
That's what I wanted to do 2 days before Thanksgiving. Sounds so good. Let's talk about money.
Well, I'm trying to remember if our anniversary is tomorrow or 2 days from now, and I'm like, because I did not get anything, I want to go home tonight, and if there's flowers, I'm sunk.